Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Superstars of Wrestling review series here on Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. We are looking at the 18th of July, 1992, and natural disasters, Dwayne Gill and the Brooklyn Brawler. Obviously, the natural disasters getting ready for, in less than a couple of weeks here, their World Tag Team Championship reign. For some reason, I remembered them as having a reign as the heels, but they had made a babyface turn before that reign takes place. I don't know why I had that false memory, but I did. But then it is 20, almost 20 years ago, 18 years ago that this took place. So mind is going to change in 18 years. Anyway, Earthquake starts with the Brooklyn Brawler, hits some clotheslines and an atomic drop. Dwayne Gill makes his way in. They're still hyping Money Inc. and the natural disasters upcoming, and Typhoon with a backbreaker on Dwayne Gill. Gill does a fantabulous job selling that maneuver and others. Dwayne Gill, I think, is an underrated guy. Big splash in the corner and a secondary splash by Earthquake as well. Earthquake, for a big man, a very athletic one at that. Big power slam by the Quake, hits the Earthquake splash, then tags off to Typhoon for the Typhoon splash. Typhoon gets the victory over Dwayne Gill in quick order, and the future tag team champions are in control. Speaking of control, the desire to see SummerSlam increases here. Obviously, that's going to be live from Wembley Stadium. They say over 80,000 people. Ultimate Warrior and Randy Macho Man Savage is your main event for that program. What I find interesting is, if you think about it, I mean, we're talking about, about 15 months or so before Savage is retired by the Warrior at WrestleMania 7. This is not acknowledged in the hype for this particular event. So I don't know if the plan was we target towards kids, and kids haven't been here for almost a year and a half. In other words, we've got a new batch of fans that we don't want to acknowledge that because Savage was a heel at the time. I don't know what the logic is there. Never made sense to me. Anyway, Flair and Glenn Ruth, of course, Ruth and later a headbanger. Flair sends him over the top rope and to the floor. Mr. Perfect is at ringside with Flair, and Flair has him mugging for the camera, literally and figuratively. Right up in the face. Always weird to me to see Ric Flair in enhancement matches. Every time I see that, though, I remember the George South, which I will love covering that when I finally do. In the NWA, George South and Ric Flair, tremendous enhancement match, and Flair made him look like $1 million. But Flair goes to town on Glenn Ruth pretty quickly. Obviously, Flair on the heels of losing the championship at WrestleMania 8. Odd that they did not use him in a match capacity for SummerSlam '92. I don't quite understand that as a concept, but anyway. So I mean, to think that Flair didn't appear in SummerSlam until after 2001 as a competitor just strikes me as odd. But anyway, Figure 4 gets the victory for Ric Flair. Rare that he uses that hold to get a victory, as we normally see it reversed by people and all of that. The event center is up next. Sergeant Slaughter talks about law and order and doing the right thing, and he kind of goes pretty well off on that tangent for a little bit. In the event center, Nasty Boy still going after High Energy. That feud seems to run just about forever. Not really a feud that was terribly wonderful, but they got a lot out of it. Hopefully you can't hear the rain. It is downpouring where I am for sure. Dave Millison versus Virgil is out next, and obviously Virgil's a guy who had been a heel for years, brought in '87, turned in '91, he actually gets a few traditionalized holds, hammerlocks, and the like. Virgil up and over, and hits boxing style punches actually. Getting the advantage here. Spins him around, atomic drop. Virgil, a very basic wrestler, actually dives over the top rope with the dive to the outside. First type of guy we see do that, certainly at his size on WWF TV regularly. Drop kick by Virgil and hits the Russian leg sweep, gets a victory there. Beverly Brothers and El Matador up next in the event center. Beverly Brothers still talking about LOD a lot, talking about their superiority as a team. El Matador talks a lot about, challenging different guys from Papa Shango to Skinner and all points in between. Talks about the fans being behind him. Tito always goes back to the love and respect to the fans, which I think is a big deal. Repo Man up next against Greg Starr. I don't know that we've seen Starr before, maybe once before, but not a heavy guy in terms of impact here. Repo Man sends his opponent off the ropes and a lot of punch kick by Repo Man. Repo Man with body slam in the middle and actually hits a front fall slam. Then a half crab submission by the Repo Man for his victory. Then we move into the Big Boss Man hyping his impact with Nails, basically saying he'd go around the world to get rid of Nails. Nails took advantage of his getting out of prison, and that will not be treaded upon kindly. Then the Big Boss Man vows to uphold law, order, and justice going forward. Mean Gene, a great interviewer here in that role. Jason Knight, who's later Jason as part of ECW fame in 97, 98 or so, here still doing enhancement work in all the way back to 92 against the Mountie, the former Intercontinental Champion. I think a lot of people forget the impact of the Mountie in 91, 92. Big deal of a character after years as part of the Rougeau brothers. Sends Knight into the top turnbuckle several times with a carotid hold, and then the Mountie choking out Jason quite a bit there, sends him over the top rope into the floor. Mountie is willing to cheat wherever he can and brings the guy out to the floor quite a bit there. They hype the WWF magazine. Beautiful drop kick right under the chin by the Mountie. No one can take away his athletic ability. They offer up the cattle prod. Of course, he's been told that he will get fined if he uses the prod, but that doesn't seem to, intimidate at least the effort towards doing exactly that. And then we kind of continue to see the dominance of the Mountie and the trouble that he tries to bring about. Razor Ramon at the beach, basically. We see him kind of stalking around the beach. Beautiful shot, but the whole idea there is that Razor Ramon is in control. No one's going to stop him. And he's coming for fame and fortune, and anybody that gets in his way is going to have a problem. That's the basics of that. Skull Von Crush, otherwise known as Big Vito, later in both ECW and WCW fame, but here an enhancement talent, a big one at that, size-wise, for the British Bulldog. Bulldog is, about 6 or 7 weeks away from challenging for the Intercontinental title. That match not announced yet, I believe announced on the next episode or so. So Bret Hart and the Bulldog there. Obviously, we see that as a result of being in Wembley Stadium. Bulldog throws around his adversary pretty simply. Repo Man still cutting promos on this, so the inset to get ready for Bret has not yet taken place. Bulldog uses power, the hanging vertical suplex, among other things. Von Crush, because of his size, I think mainly, gets at least a few punches and shots in, but nothing that really does any real damage to the Bulldog. Bulldog with the running power slam gets the victory. And then we go to the event center. The event center this time with Kamala and Crush. Crush promises to clean up the garbage, from lack of a better term, in the WWF. And Harvey Whippleman causes trouble, basically says no one will stop Kamala. We are a week or two away from the announcement of Kamala versus The Undertaker at SummerSlam. Then we kind of get The Macho Man saying he's going to get even with the Warrior, has something to address with him about the future. And then the Warrior basically says he doesn't have to listen with his ears, he can listen with his eyes. Yes, a typical Warrior promo to close this particular week of television. And we'll be back with more right after this.